Damien, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gavin. Glad to be here.
Let's talk about the negotiators. But first, there's something we always have to do here, which is run our fancy reveal logo. So three, two, one. Now you're a man who must be very familiar with that logo,
I
as the negotiators is an exclusive piece of content only on Reveal. So why don't you start by telling us what the negotiators is?
so the Negotiators is a show, as you said, a Reveal
Mm-hmm.
original that focuses on real estate agents and the work that they do that goes unseen. Because let's face it, all the shows on TV right now that focus on real estate agents make them look like glorified tour guides. And really, it's an industry of dedication and attention to detail, and we focus on that in our show.
So the format of the show is a lot of reenactments versus using real people. What's the process like for where you sort are all the stories and the scenarios coming out of real life, and then you're bringing in actors to create? Like, talk a little bit about the process of what the show is.
Yeah, so we have basically two formats. We have the reenactment, what we call action episodes, and then we
Mm-hmm.
have more of the kind of documentary question based episodes. So it's kind of half and half for season one. So we'll get a story from a realtor. We'll be able to break it down into beats, usually like a four-act kind of story. And then sometimes when their clients that were involved are willing to be on the show, we have them be on the show. Other times we cast local actors and have them do the reenactments.
What's the goal of this show? Like, what does the negotiators hope to give to the public in terms of education in the real estate market?
Yeah, so a lot of the TV shows, like I said, make them look like, hey, here's house A and house B and house C. And that's really not what it's about. Even Realtor.com, they say, hey, get into your dream home. And we're basically informing and educating the audience that if you're looking to buy or sell your house, the best thing you can do is get a really, really good, effective real estate agent. And by watching the show, you have a link to a local agent that can help you.
Your background is primarily acting, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So as a turning onto the creative side and the directing side, do you find that experience as an actor helps you with these reenactments and working with actors when you're creating the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to communicate with actors is key. Giving them stuff they can actually hold on to. What I find is a lot of actors can talk about the roles they do, but something gets lost in the translation where they can describe what they do on screen more effectively than they can do it. So for me, just being able to get through and say, hey, can you be brighter? Can you be more steady with your delivery versus like trying to have some, hey, can you use some Meisner for this or can you do some Strasbourg? Just trying to effectively communicate in something that they can hold on to and that they can deliver.
I only know what those words are because my wife is an actor. So otherwise, I would have been like, he's speaking a foreign language." Uh, any so what you're shooting? You're in the thick of episode one. Um, how many episodes are we looking at for the season? There's three in release that people can go on reveal.net and watch. How many episodes total will there be?
There'll be 10, and episode 4 is actually going to come out tomorrow. So basically, what I like to do is, as I'm talking to these realtors, these agents, I like to derive the essence. Like episode 4 is based all about unity, and it's just titled Community, and then unity is highlighted because we have a brokerage, Wendy Whitty Real Estate Brokerage,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 3 other agents that we have, and basically stringing a through line of the episode of how they have learned from parenting and how they've applied that to real estate. Basically, you want to protect and guide your clients, not like they're your child, but at the same point, there's uncertainties about getting your home sold or buying a new home, and that having someone that's been there, much like a parent, is able to take the stress out of the process and kind of give you a sense of confidence going forward.
I like that each episode has a different theme that you're talking about because, and again, never taking away from what other people are doing on television, but a lot of the shows are very like cut, paste, repeat, cut, paste, repeat. So I like that there's a different slant and a different way to come at it and bring a different, sort of flavor, let's call it, to every episode. Um, when you're tackling something this big, like 10 episodes of reality TV is not a small undertaking. How do you keep your head, because you're also writing and producing on the show as well as directing. How do you find that balance between the directing role and the writing producing role?
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, somebody asked me, "What's your favorite process?" And I said, "Well, I don't have kids, but it's like the writing process, the directing process, and then post production. They're all different energies and they're all unique. And I don't like when I'm writing, I love writing. When I'm on set, I love being on set. And in post, I love being on post. So they're like a kid. They're all unique. They all have their intrinsic challenges. And I enjoy all of them because soup to nuts, being able to go, we have nothing, and then being like, here's episode one, episode two, episode three. It's really interesting and it's really fun to kind of build something from nothing. Something that started as a thought in the head of the president's mind. Now, there's three solid episodes, and we're about to go into production on episode nine tomorrow. And right now, we just wrapped up post production on episode four. I'm entering post production on episode five. We're going into production for episode nine tomorrow. So it's like you could be overwhelmed by all this stuff. You're like, oh, there's so much going on, but I prefer to look at like I am surrounded by a warm blanket of stuff that I love to do. So again, each part of the process is unique, and it's fun to see from beginning to end how each one works together, and that as I do more editing on set, I go, okay, I know I can do this insert here, we can cut the graphic, and then we can tie it around this narrative. Versus in the beginning, it was just kind of like, I think that can work. And now it's like we've made enough Frankenstein monsters where now I know kind of how to make them, and that's what this process is.
I think that's the journey of any show or any film. You've got to hit your stride. You've got to get the kinks worked out. And again, all stuff that the audience will never know watching the show, because as somebody who's not involved in the production, I know a little bit about the behind the scenes, but just watching the three episodes would never know that there wasn't just absolute sort of joy and perfectly clean cut processed all the way through. Any funny stories from set, things that have happened during the production so far that you can think of?
Uh, yeah. um,
Ones you can talk about that have no liability. No.
well, so on the show, I play the anti-negotiator, Quentin Vane.
Yep.
Um, and so we shot a dual episode with a negotiator, Christopher Trankina. Great guy, really talented, big personality. So I pulled him off to the side to prep him before we went on, and I leaned in, and we were like in a darkened room, and I was like, I need you to channel your energy and focus it to a point so that way when you're in front of camera, you have full command and you're able to express what you want to express with clarity and conviction. And he goes, holy crap, you play the anti-negotiator, right? And I was like, yeah. He was just like, oh my God, I didn't realize it until you leaned into the light and said, focus your energy. And it was so funny because he was so sincere. And he didn't and I got a haircut since I did that. But how excited he was about that, it was so funny. And then he started telling everybody on set, hey, like I didn't realize he played the anti-negotiator. And it was just funny because he's got so much energy and he's so passionate about real estate. And the way he was telling a story that just happened like 10 minutes ago, it was hilarious.
So you're keeping your acting alive then too by playing Quentin Vane. Remind me the name of the real estate company, his company name? It's Me Realty, Me First.
Me first, yeah.
Me First. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like the tongue-in-cheek humor that the show brings out, like Me First Realty being that it's all about him and not about the clients. How did you guys settle on and coming to terms with like that tone that you're going to bring to the show, that it's got that sort of comedic value as well?
Yeah, so originally I kind of was blueprinting for season two, and I thought, ooh, if we have the negotiators, they're kind of like our Avengers. But what is the Avengers without a Thanos? What's a good guy without a bad guy? Big believer, life is found in the play of opposites. Um, so I'm a big believer in to show someone what something is, you need to show them what it is not. And it's a convoluted market, and we're taking the best real estate agents and dubbing them negotiators. But out there amongst them, there are plenty of scams and people trying to fake it till they make it. And, you know, real estate in and of itself, it's a lot of numbers, it's a lot of um, emails, phone calls, it's a lot of just put your head down and go to the grindstone.
Mm-hmm.
And to infuse some levity, I just thought, hey, having an anti-negotiator, it gives a good balance of, the show can get super serious, but then, having some guy out there that's kind of quirky, kind of funny, kind of a not so great guy. We get to entertain our audience, but also inform them that there are actually guys not as animated as Quentin Vane, but there are guys out there going, "Hey, it's about me and my commission." And yeah, I know this house looks great. Like there's a hole in the wall, but it looks
Yeah, yeah.
great for you. And they just, there's yes, yes, yes agents. There's people that kind of disappear when things get tough. And again, there's so much nuance and there's so much richness to this idea of kind of the villain that it's like you have to take advantage of it because again we want to
Yeah.
entertain but also inform.
It's all in the phrasing. It's like the used car salesman thing, or the shady real estate agent. Like, was anybody ever murdered in this house? Not in the last 8 years. You're like, well, hold on a second. That sounds good, but does that mean 9 years ago somebody was?
Exactly.
I think it's obviously one of the most important purchases that people are ever going to make. It's a lot of money, especially in today's real estate climate. You want to feel comfortable with the people you're with. So I think that's one of the most interesting things about negotiators is you you're not only doing a show about negotiators, real estate agents, you're also constantly informing people that the show can help find their local agents and find people to help them do the show. And I think that educational factor separates it greatly from everything else out there because there's a lot of information, a lot of I'm not a homeowner currently, so knowing just watching the show, I'm like, oh, didn't know that. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. I should really have a notebook out while I watch the show and take some notes down or rewatch it to kind of learn it better. How again, it's all about balance with the show, and I think you guys do it so well. How do you? What's the process of researching and making sure you have the current and correct information that you're presenting to the audience?
Yeah, another great question. So we have kind of a chain of command of somebody vetting these agents, then we have a producer that's kind of going a level deeper. And once they check those boxes, it comes to me. I have a couple conversations, and usually they come with a story, and I say, hey, type it up and let me pick out the key points. And then I go, hey, what's the deal with mortgage contingencies? What's the deal with home inspections? And they start to pick it out because what these guys take for granted, they're like a P&S. I'm like, what's that? Peanut butter sandwich? Like purchase and sales. I didn't know that up until a couple months ago. But there are all these little things that go, oh no, that's not interesting. I'm like, no, 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 that's super interesting because I don't know this stuff. Like you guys take for granted what you know, and it's about pulling them back and going, let's get to the foundation of what you do and let's dive into it. What's the process of putting an offer together? Why did you insert that clause? Why did you omit that clause? And they go, "Oh, no, this is basic stuff." And I'm like, "Well, that's good. You build a good foundation off the basics." Um, and like you said, some of these shows can kind of get cookie cutter where people are on like an autopilot. And to me, a big part of making this show successful is having uh, episodic architecture. And so that means from episode to episode, it's not just here's the guy, here's the deal. The clients are like, yeah, and then they wrap it up. It's like, what are the nuances? What's the essence of these people? Um, episode five, our negotiator is really good about being present, and she grew up in a large family, so she has the perspective of being able to deal with multiple personalities. And since real estate is a business of cultivation, you're dealing with a lot of different people. And due to the nature of being a person with a personality, um, different people react differently to certain situations, and sometimes people get really emotional selling a home because you don't know if it's, did someone die and they have to move out? Did they lose a job and they can't afford it? And our episode 5 focuses on this realtor having the ability to stay present and use perspective to see through the chaos of the process.
So on that, I would say also the what's the diversity of homes and sort of levels of price purchase and things that you're showing? Like how many is every episode like a very different scenario, or are they all sort of in one sort of bracket of sort of cost and size of home?
I'd say there's a good diversity. We saw a $5 million home listing in episode 3 in Sudbury.
Hmm.
Beautiful house. It was actually rented out by George Clooney for a couple of months back when he was up here.
Heard of
I
them.
forget.
Heard of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
heard of him. Not bad. He was up here a couple of years ago. We rented the house. We've done our episode 6 actually had a energy efficient earth home that was dug into the ground,
Mm.
and it has these really high cavernous ceilings, and it has a lot of ambient sunlight and radiant heat floor. Super cool house. Um, and price ranges from like anywhere from 200,000, like I said, upwards to 5 million. But I think our team has done a really, really amazing job getting a diversity of real estate agents that have different qualities, and then also different homes that you're not going into the same home every time.
And I think that's important too. Again, your show, I feel like, is connecting to people who are actually buying homes and taking a very realistic approach of how you can help and educate them. I think that's super important versus just say the showy, like, look at this glamorous home. And there's those memes that go around. I don't, have you seen the real estate memes where it's always a couple and it's like, I clip butterfly wings for art exhibits, and the husband says like, and I collect Batman comics. Our budget is $3.8 million. You know, like
Yeah,
all those shows feel like that. And like all of us at home sitting go like, how?
yeah.
I have a job and I can't do that. So I do appreciate that the all the scenarios that I've seen presented in the first 3 episodes are very very down to earth, very realistic, and I think will connect with an audience of actual home buyers in America.
Yeah, 100%. That's our goal. And also, part of the show is when you pause it, you get to see the local negotiator. Now, not every along with the show, our company broke the country up
Mhm.
into zones. Each zone has multiple zip codes. And what we're doing is filling each zone with a local negotiator so that when you pause, the show pops up Chris Smith
Yeah.
in your area. Um, so that's another thing. You're watching the show, you're taking notes, hopefully, and you're getting something out of it. You're going, me and Stacy are thinking of selling our home. Pause, let me go get a drink. And then you see Chris Smith pop up and go, huh,
Yeah.
there's a real estate agent right there that's verified an NRP, negotiator recognized partner. And then, you like what you see on our show, you get informed, you get entertained, hopefully, and then you pause the show, and then you have a direct link to someone that can actually help you
Yeah.
buy or sell your home. It's like, there's nothing like this out there.
To quote Dennis Hopper in Speed, interactive TV, Jack, wave of the future. Yeah, no, I think that's just an incredible thing. All the ability to work in sort of that augmented reality and that's interactive TV. Like what more of a reason do you need to watch the negotiators to know that like, oh, if I watch the show, it's going to show me in my area exactly who can help me purchase a house. Doesn't work here in Canada yet. I tried it. When I pause, it just pauses. I was like, am I doing something wrong? But
Mm.
I realized that it was regional after that. But yeah, and I think that will only expand. Well, like, we try to keep these things under 20 minutes and short. So that's all the questions. I told you it'd be painless, and I think it was super informative. Everybody out there should check out Reveel'd.net. The Negotiators, the first 3 episodes are out. It's an exclusive on Reveal. Damien's put in all of this hard work with the team at Reveal. And if you're looking to buy a house, I know the show that you should be watching. So, Damien, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck on wrapping the rest of season 1.
Thank you, Gavin. And I just want to shout out William Chevry, president of Reveal. He is the executive producer on the Negotiators. And our tech guy, Matt Timms, out in
Yep.
Arizona, New Mexico. They created the technology that didn't exist
Yeah.
so that we can do this on our show. And without those guys, this thing is just it doesn't exist. So I'm just fortunate to have so many great, competent, smart, and just truly amazing people around me, and that's enabled my job to actually be a reality. So just shout out to the team, and hope everybody watching the Negotiators enjoys it. And if you need a house, hit the pause ad and get in touch with your local negotiator.
Listen, I am nothing if not a fan of Reveal. I love everything that they're doing and the ways that they're innovating in the streaming world. So excellent shout out. And I'm sure we'll have you back on. There's going to be so much more to talk about this show.
Fantastic, Gavin. It was so much fun and a pleasure to be on Reveel'd.